I just got another. What was it? Cancel. I don't know. Welcome. Twitch is acting super weird today, so who knows? Maybe I'm not even streaming. We'll see at the end of it if there's a VOD. See if anybody comes in. It says. No, it says I'm offline. Twitch says I'm offline. Oh, now it's showing me with a bitrate. Okay, I don't know. I think it's some bullshit on Twitch's end. I wouldn't be shocked. Something goofy's going on. It's definitely live. Hey, Chinny. Cool. Chinny, I was just earlier today. I was just running around in the zone that you and Simon have been working on. That is yet to be shown to the community and or named or whatever. And man, it's cool. Oh man, it's wild. It's wild that that's just like just there. Exciting. I've got to follow up on the wrap up. I think it was Simon wrote like a sort of wrap up state of things. Want to follow up on that and kind of talk to you guys on the environment side in general, like just about textures and approach and the reality of kind of like schedule and figuring out how we're going to tackle some of these things before EA, and then maybe what the plan may be after we are in EA, depending on how EA goes and stuff. So I'm just putting it out there because I meant to get that written up earlier and then I didn't. So if you don't hear anything, let me know that I'm dropping the ball. Hey XV, going on Encrypt, Chango. I'm gonna save this cough drop till later when I potentially need it. Excited about the next zone that you're working on as well. Excited about Underdocs. I can say that name out loud. I think I've said it in the past. That one's not as secret. Hey, what's up, Bill? I'm feeling a ton better. Yesterday was... I didn't realize how bad I felt, to be honest with you. I just kind of felt like a little low energy and sore throat and headaches and body aches and all that usual shit. I didn't think it was that bad over the weekend until yesterday when I felt better. And I was operating at like normal energy levels. And it was just... You know, the cliche is night and day compared. So I feel a ton better today. Redorana said, Twitch apparently broke for me. All my followed channels are gone. It's been like, first it gave me errors while logging in. I was like, did my login info change? I don't think so. So I typed in the same login info. Then it finally went through. Then I had to do my 2FA to get in. And then it gave me the same error. But then I hit return again, and then it went in, and then I got in here, and everything's listed as unknown user. I don't know. I think Twitch is just, you know what? Like, let's appreciate it for as long as it's here. I don't know how long Twitch will actually be here. I don't think Twitch is going to be a forever platform, which is going to freak some folks out, I guess. And then we'll just switch over to whatever is still existing. Or host something ourselves or some shit. I mean, there'll always be YouTube. I say there'll always be YouTube, but who knows the way that Google's going. I mean, but yeah. Anyway, Thadvic, what's going on? Gloomkin, Chaz Solo. Redorana says, oh, and I've been listening to Dungeon Crawler Carl. I'm on the second book. Honestly, I feel the first is better. If you're just getting into it, there's a thing that happens with the books, especially ones later on where you get into weirder stuff, rule sets and things, though he actually does a really good job of kind of like ending on like a crescendo, and then it goes back down, and like crescendo. Sometimes I'll just make sounds with my mouth that kind of sound like the word. That shit doesn't fly with my wife. She's like, that's not how that word's pronounced. I'm just like, oof. Hey Marcy, what's up, Ogodev? Quatos. Hey buddy. No, not with a cliffhanger. I think he does a good job of wrapping up at the end typically. There's like, you know, a moment, and then it kind of leads into the next thing. Yeah, like a good resolution. What's the stage after resolution? It's spelled funny. It's French or something. It's spelled one way, but I think I've always pronounced it as like denouement or something. I don't know. I'm not well educated. Probably some shit like denouement or whatever. Alistair, what's going on? Liz Biscuits! Quixana! Hey y'all. Let me load into game. Okay, I triple checked to make sure I was not in the zone that I was talking about earlier, Chinny, when I logged out. I was like, watch me log out in this zone and log in, and everybody's eyes like explode. You go, what is this? Shit. I'll immediately have a message or two in Slack. I get those sometimes when I spoiler. I'll get like a message in Slack like, did you mean to show that? And I'm like, show what? Oh shit. Oh no. I did not mean to do that. But we'll be okay. I bet it's something French. It's always something French if it's weird. It's true. The phase after the resolution, the tickler. Oh my gosh, I'm up in the clouds. I was showing my wife Scarwood in the crowd layer. The cloud layer. The cloud layer is badass. Like I am excited for us to have a zone that when you're able to like get above the clouds like this. But I agree with our assessment in the previous streams that this mountain is not quite high enough. Like if we were shooting low ambition wise, then we could pretend like this mountain was high enough. But this mountain is not high enough. We really want a mountain that's like so freaking high for the high elves. It's a coincidence. It's not built in. That's what their name's based on. That's the lore. Why are they called high elves? They're way up there in the mountain. That's it. People are like, the lore in this game is brilliant. The high elves are very high. Yes. The mountain is huge. It's 69,420 meters tall. Those of you watching this stream for the first time, this stream is a very serious game development stream. You can tell I'm feeling a ton better than I was last week. Very serious game development stream. The only thing I was about to say, the only thing more serious than this stream when it comes to game development is a GDC talk, but I don't even know that that's true. Sky elves? I bet there are sky elves. I was trying to find a thumbnail for the previous stream's video. And the 4 seconds I listened to myself talk on that last stream, I think I sniffled like 20 times, so that's when it got me. Now Jasmine's getting sick. Poor lady. That's what she gets, though. That's what you get for kissing sick people. Tried to warn her. Can we make sky gnomes? Probably. Eventually. All right, so once folks are in here, well, you know, I just moused over the viewers. It looks like we got enough people to talk about the zone. We want to do that some more, right? Hey, what's up, Wyvern? Matthias, Zen0, Viro. Did I already say hi, Olgodev? Coot. Then we can talk about this. What's up, Chex? We can talk about this zone some more if you want to. Or we can move on to other stuff. But I figured you'd want to continue on the zone. I have not done anything in the zone per last time. Oh shit, I need to watch out. Because we made the zone bigger and now the zone line is misplaced. And so I'll start by basically first, let me get in the human form. Cool. Now it's amazing how different scale feels just between, you know, it's always good when you're working on a zone. When you're running around in a zone to have your gnome, which I am by trade. So have your gnome available. Have your human available. And then have your ogre available. Especially when you're doing interiors and stuff. Just to always be able to quickly sanity check sort of scale, especially when you're getting into little details, but even when you're running through a big open zone, having that difference in sort of immediate point of reference is handy. Quixana, this is the zone. Okay, you're from, you know the zone, right? You just didn't realize that we're in it, maybe. Wyvern said, I truly love this open and collaborative approach to development. Well, I think it's probably one of the coolest things I've been able to participate in since I've started working on games. I mean, nothing's going to be cooler than joining the EQ team back when I was like 1,000,000% enamored with EQ, and also it had zero understanding of the games industry. I thought it was just like magic and unicorns behind the scenes and shit. I was such an innocent when I joined the industry. It's because it's so magical when you're not seeing behind the scenes, right? You know, not to ruin it for you, and hopefully nothing we're doing here ruins it for you. But it's so magical, but when you don't know the details, and hopefully, you know, for a lot of people, I know it's interesting to see some of it. Hopefully, we don't ruin that for anybody, because I think that's the biggest downside to working on games is losing that. It's kind of like, and I'll make a inappropriate analogy, of course. But it's kind of like, you know, it's kind of like if somebody were to watch porn and be like, I think they really love each other, right? Like, and then you get on set, you're like, oh no, this is gross. Making games is kind of like that to some degree, right? Where you're kind of like, oh, I bet it's all magic and fun, and it's like, oh man, it's really challenging. And not only is it really challenging, and we'll see this eventually, you guys are super nice to us. Everybody is just, everybody, I'm sorry I ruined that for you, Glimkin. No, they do love each other. That's what people do when they're in love. Just, so many things I just stopped. Let's move on. What were we even talking about? Oh yeah. So I mean, the honeymoon is we're still very much in a honeymoon phase, and I think I'm gonna try. We'll see if this works with our approach. I'm gonna try to be pretty proactive in stating what I think some of the reception and challenges are going to be when we go into early access, right? Because I was just talking to, I think I was talking to First about this earlier, right? Like, inevitably, find me a game, and I'm sure there's a few examples out there, but like for the most part, every game that goes live or goes into early access, every one of them, people look and go, if they would have just waited 6 more months, it would have been perfect. Or if they would have just taken 6 more months, it would have been right. And it's like it's always 6 more months, right? And so when we go into early access, people are gonna be like, yeah, we always knew they were going to go into early access and the game was going to be incomplete. But really, if they had just taken 6 more months, right? Yeah, and it's just like, yeah, I don't know what to tell you, right? Like, oh yeah, if they'd been more polished, if they had more content, you know. If I was a baller. So yeah. So there'll be some of that. Anyways, what's that related to here? A little bit taller. A girl with a... I would call her. I always forget what she has, but I knew there was a girl, and I knew that I would call her. I just always forget what it was about that girl. If I was a baller, if I was a little bit taller, if I had a girl with a... She has a shot caller. I don't think it was shot caller. That would have been a funny lyric, but... Anyways... If I wish I had a girl who looked good, I would call her. Thank you, Amnesiac. And I forget, is that from... No, that's not from She Keeps on Passing Me By. Battery Peeler, I think that's true. Skilo. Passing me by. Yeah, Far Side is Passing Me By, but I couldn't remember who. Yeah. Hey, Vulork. All right, so guys, what's up, Dark Inside and Freak and Wallabus? I think I missed some other people while providing inappropriate examples. Here we go. Here's our zone, guys. I'll do the quick recap at the beginning of every episode. There's the quick recap, so you don't know where you're, so you can remember what's going on. But if you've been watching, then you're kind of like, ah, fuck, that was a waste of some time. Which reminds me, I'm waiting for the next season of that show to come out so that I can watch it on Pudding's Plex. Oh man, what was it called? It's got the dude from Lost and from Oz. He's the sheriff. It's the town where once you get in, you cannot get out. Hey, Bizarro Mike. What's the name of that show? If I open Plex, I bet I would find it pretty quickly. Anyways, for being like a mystery box, kind of like, no, not Hotel California. It's a rad show, like for what it is. Not The Dark. That's a German one on Netflix, which is also good. Not Duster. I thought it was something with like F in the name or something. It's one word. Not Under the Dome. I'm just gone off the rails. I've got to find it now. Yeah, which dude from Lost? Oh, the scientist. Yeah. Harold Perrineau? Let's look it up. That's it. There we go. I thought it was going to be like scary or whatever. It's not. If you're not too into scary, I'm not super into scary anymore. So it's not too scary. It's it's good. I actually enjoyed it. It's got some of the usual kind of cheese to it, especially in later episodes, but it's kept us engaged. Like we found that it was pretty good. So yeah, I think it's worth a watch. Like give it a few episodes and let me know what you think. I think it's got 4 seasons or 5 seasons now. Yeah, from Quixana. That's the one. And we're looking forward to the next season. I have zero faith that they're going to wrap it up cleanly. But it's actually made me want to go back and watch Lost. Just because, like, I don't know if you can keep me entertained for a few seasons. I don't give a shit if you stick the landing. You don't have to stick the landing. Just keep me entertained for a little while. I just realized I've been divorced 3 times. Maybe there's a correlation. I am feeling much better. Thank you. Dark was very awesome. I want to rewatch Dark again at some point. Watch it while you're waiting on a 4-hour contested spawn for Monk Epic 2.0. I think that's one of the great things about EverQuest was how much TV I watched. Like my ex and I had, because it was back when, you know, TVs were big and boxy, we had a tiny little box that sat between our monitors. And especially on raid weekends, it was just like, I watched so much Cooking Channel and shit like that while just like camping stuff or waiting on raids. Hey, what's up, Lich? Have you learned enough German where you can watch Dark without subtitles? Oh, Amnesia, that is actually a good, that's a good one. My German's gotten better. We just watched like a 1-hour documentary, you know, while I was cooking dinner, eating dinner and stuff. I found a documentary. I was like, oh, baby, you should check this out. And it was all in German. I was pretty proud of myself for being able to keep up. I would say I get 60-70% easy. You know, because also if I like understand the context and things like that. So, and I think with something like with Dark, a lot of it's just going to be like, I understand the plot line now that I've watched it, and you know, so it's got a pretty constrained context, and then a lot of it's going to be sort of like basic normales Reden, wie normale Leute sprechen mit seinander. How would you say one another? Not seinander. Wie normale Leute sprechen. Been watching Lost with the wife. It's her first watch through, and it's been really fun seeing her reaction thing. It was a cool show. I think they caught a lot of shit for that for no reason. The end of it. 1899 was cool too, but they canned it after 1 season. Oh, I'm not familiar with that one. I have trouble watching a lot of stuff. I'll overshare just a little bit. I'll say Jasmine and I have we're challenged in watching a lot of modern TV because much like this stream, we prefer our entertainment without politics. And so it's hard these days, right? So kind of like this stream, I just want to be entertained. Well, not from this stream. This stream's not very entertaining for me. I'm kidding. I probably enjoy it more than you guys do. All right, so I'm gonna do a quick recap for you guys that haven't. I enjoyed The Boys. The Boys is funny because like I like I liked the comic back in the day, and you know, I think they do a decent enough job where you're like, if it's like DCC, you know, if you're reading Dungeon Crawler Carl, there's obviously jabs at different things that are social or political or whatever, right? There's jabs, but he's jabbing at everybody, and I'm okay with that. And my take on The Boys, at least, I don't think I've seen the last season, but my take on The Boys was always kind of that it felt like a little bit of a jab at everybody. And I'm cool with that. Punch everywhere. Megabytes, thank you for the follow. You know what I mean? So like that's my thing. Like, you know, I'm okay with that approach. I mean, I grew up with Carlin and shit like that. I actually got to see Carlin live before he died. George Carlin, good stuff. Anyway, let's We're 22 minutes in, so I saw him like right out of. I saw him at Quick Sounds like I got to see one of his last lives too. Yeah, I saw him at like casino on a Indian reservation in California. Right, like I think his first show out of rehab, and he had all of his notes on paper and was just reading straight off the pages and stuff. And man, because my dad loved him to death. And so I grew up around it because of my dad, and so it was super cool to be able to see him live. So for those of you that are just tuning in or maybe missed an episode, big show. We got together and basically said, let's make a zone together in chat and kind of use that as an opportunity to talk through the process that we use. And so we started with basically like some empty boxes and a lot of constraints. So we said, all right, Evershade, the Wood Elf zone, so Phelan draws in Evershade, Evershade Wield, and then below that is Keeper's Bite, right? Below that is Veil of Zentar. So we start with like Keeper's Bite, Fields of the Lost, a zone that you don't know much about yet, but that's going to be a zone that's available in our first big update, the Module 1 update. Excuse me. And then we just started with a box, a rectangle, and we worked through a ton of ideas, and we still have some of them over here. And that led to a very extensive NPC list. It led to POIs that are both just sort of standard true POIs, but then also kind of a definition of where the creatures we landed on will reside in the zone. We, so we have like some ideas over here. We've got some themes that came out of it. We've got our NPC list. We've got our POI list. The POI list was pretty small until after we went through and winnowed down our NPC list to try to make it a bit more coherent and make the zone feel more unique. It started with a little bit of everything, and then we've tightened that up. Pretty standard process. I forget the term. I knew it at my last company because I was in so many frickin' meetings, and we had so many facilitated meetings, and we brought in people from external agencies to facilitate meetings, and we talked about all these different processes and stuff. And so there's it's like the ideation and then sort of consolidation phases. And so we treated our stream here as kind of like a big ass whiteboard exercise with a bunch of sticky notes. If any of you work in tech or tech adjacent, or I think probably frickin' any modern office setting these days, if you're not working construction, if you're not a roughneck at the oil well or something like that, you're probably very familiar with long meetings with a lot of sticky notes, right? Multicolored sticky notes all over everything. That's what, the early 2020-ish time frame is going to be about. People are going to look back in history and be like, all those fucking sticky notes. What were they thinking? Do you have meetings about meetings, to plan for meetings? That was a big part of my time at the previous company. And the fact that we don't really have that on this team, it just doesn't work. We've tried to have like bigger meetings, and this shit's so hard to do that we just are constantly an async flow of information. And I honestly think it's been so helpful. I was telling First earlier that was kind of like my pre-shower thought today, was like, how are we able to kind of, keep the pace that we have, given how challenging it is for us to work. Everybody's part-time. I mean, some people are very part-time. People are having babies all the time. Our team has had so many kids. Like work things come up and people have to disappear for a month, or, in a worst case, like, several months and all this stuff, but we just kind of keep going along. Ollie dislocated his shoulder. Last week was horrible. I came back just beat up from airsoft. My knees were like water balloons. And it's funny, I didn't even realize I hurt my knees because I landed on my arm and my head. And so I got back, my knees were swollen, I couldn't work out. Then I got sick. Nick was sick. Ollie's out of commission with a dislocated shoulder. So yeah. Knocking the boots. Xandex. No, he was just playing tennis, I think. I don't think it was boots related. I mean, you know, he could be lying to us. He could be embarrassed. But I don't think he was knocking boots. I think it was just tennis. Vasava, good. I'm glad you're in good condition. Chinny's in good condition. Yeah, not everybody's injured. Thank the heavens. But anyway, so guys, we did all this. If you go back and watch the VODs, you'll see that all of this was your efforts and work. All this placement, we sort of, you know, figured out together. We got some ideas that when we're doing population and stuff, we'll come back in and we'll. Thanks for the shout out, Liz. We'll come back and we'll incorporate some of these ideas. Speaking of, Baloo, I was just saying, you know, it's crazy that we're able to keep the schedule that we have. You know, people are going to throw that back at me later on at EA. They'll be like, I thought you guys were staying on schedule. Why is this shit not done? And I'll be like, listen, shut up. And then Aspen's going to make a video about how you're not supposed to tell the customers to shut up. And I'll be like, they're not customers, they're players. We're all the same around here. We're all friends, even if you're saying mean shit about us, and then I'm having to tell you to just piss off. This is modern game development. This is we're ushering in a new approach. It's called we're on equal footing. You get to talk shit, we get to talk shit. All right? We don't want double standards around here. That is, we opened our kimono to you. We opened the kimono and let you take a look, and in return, we're gonna fire back if you fire at us, and we'll admit we'll be like, you're right, our shit's late. I don't know what to tell you. Like, people are having babies everywhere. That's what I was getting back to. Baloo is saying somehow I think our team has probably had like 30 kids now, and COD, you're not allowed to talk shit. You got to work your way up to it. We got to make sure that you're talking shit appropriately. Yeah. So congrats, Baloo. Yeah, by the time we're ready for 1.0, we'll have doubled our team size just with everybody's children. So anyway, we got this done. You guys definitely give them congrats. I don't know what's going on with my L's and R's tonight. More, I guess that's a G. Congrats. So we took this, we gave this to Nicodemus. Nicodemus made a pencil sketch of what this looked like, and then moved it into inks and put in some fun little ideas and stuff in here, you know, like scary treants and drakes, and we can always count on them for that. When setting up the 3D environment, Bjorn, who set that up for us in World Creator, asked about elevation stuff, so I drew like pink lines are elevation, you know, going up, sort of ascension. Brown lines are just flatness. Then Bjorn used that to kind of 3Dify it a bit, you see here, and then got it into World Creator. And then we came in here and we ran around a bit. Right? Bill colored it in. And then we did some stopwatch runs so we could get a feel for like how long it was taking us with max move rate enhancement, our SAL. Just all right. And the feedback that we got, there are two big pieces of feedback. was the feedback that we got where it felt a little small, believe it or not, because we want this big kind of traversal zone. And that was part of kind of the intent when we talked about this, right? So notice two things here. One, it's we made it big, and we were talking about it's kind of a zone that you mostly pass through. We're reusing a lot of assets, right? We didn't want to make a bunch of unique assets, or ideally any unique assets. We want to reuse assets from the Califrey set over here with like Keeper's Bite and Nevershade, things like that. We want to bring those in. So that's props and monsters and textures and stuff. And then Fields of the Lost. The challenge there is we don't have Fields of the Lost yet. So we probably do, you know, you could see how we maybe placeholder some stuff and then we swap it out later. Like we'll come back to the zone later or whatever as we're working on Fields of the Lost. Which is on the schedule to be worked on before early access, right? Because it is part of the first major update, which we hope to have mostly done as we're going into early access, so that you're not waiting very long for the first big update. We want to keep you entertained. So then, based on the feedback you guys gave us, I kind of like pulled all that together and said, all right, well, we lost a bit of the rectangular feel of this up here, and so since we're kind of doing this east-west, west-east traversal, let's go ahead, and we said we wanted the zone to be a bit bigger, and so we biased that towards the sort of lateral progression here. So I asked Bjorn today if he could make it 35% bigger, and then I grabbed this because I was like, how big would that actually be? And so since I'm really not like a big math guy, kind of more a kit bashing sort of like visual guy, I made a rectangle that's about a third, right? And then I checked it to make sure that it was about a third, and sure enough, it is. And then I tacked it on here and went, what does that look like? That feel all right? And so what we did was, hey Dargith, we stretched it this way. What's up, John? We stretched it, and then we made it about 20% bigger because we were also talking about like, hey, it's kind of weird that I look all the way over to the side from here and can kind of see it. But while we were doing that, I was like, but let's not scale this ravine, because if we scale the ravine, then, you know, it winds up being a much bigger bridge and all this stuff, and this POI kind of changes. And so I was like, all right, let's not scale the ravine. Made a note there. But yeah, we did modify Foot Lake. This looked like a foot to you guys before. Right? It's the big foot. It's got some, it's like that, it's the Chad versus the Virgin meme, right? Like, I always see that in like the shooting and tactical community. Like, I don't know if you're familiar with it. Anyways, so this made me think of that art style. That's definitely a Chad foot in calf. And so we sent that over, and Bjorn, being the awesome dude that he is, like just knocked it out super quick and then sent this back. Or I took this screen cap, and so we can see. And that's where we're at. That's where we're at. We're in here now. I guess, let me check and see if I need to grab latest. I just got punted from the game, so the server restarted. It doesn't look like there's anything to pull, so let's just hop back in. Oh, Simon, beyond just congratulating you on your brilliant accomplishment, was also saying before you got in, was telling Chinny how awesome the secret zone you guys have worked on is. I was running through there earlier and looking at the latest, and man, I think people are really going to dig it. I don't know how we show that, if we show that. It's one of those things where it's like, oh man, it'd be cool to show, but on the other hand, I think it'll eventually be shown, because I don't know that everybody's going to be able to experience that. So, but it's one that I think has to be shown in video. I don't think stills do it justice. Yeah, I think we'll just allude to it. Wolverine Tooth said, "Don't show everything, please." Yeah, you guys are a great combo. It's been nice seeing people team up. We've got some awesome team ups. Been watching as the Sava and Nicodemus like crank out quests. That's great stuff. There's it's got me hopeful for there's so much stuff that I'm hoping we're able to do on the quest front before EA. Let's see. Yeah, and then the stuff that we're working on for Chinny's next zone is looking. I think that's really going to come together nice. So that's cool. How deep is the lake now? That's one of the complaints. One of the complaints last time. It's not deep yet. That's something like, so look how flat all of this is, and that not being deep is something we'll just fix. That's something even I can, do. I can get into Blender and do without bugging Bjorn if necessary. I will be making this real deep, though, or we'll be making this real deep, and we'll also be like chilling out this, like this slope on the shoreline. We'll be like, so. Sorry, Gorf the Imp said, "Hey everyone, Deep Elf models are looking great." Hey, thank you. Excited about the deep stuff and the Deep Elves. Speaking of deep. Any other classes possibly coming in the future? Bicky, I'd say you never know, like long term. But we have so many classes now that we've got to flesh out. Are there IP issues? Like if me and my cousins want to play in the same room, are we good? Yeah, you should be fine. We're not like restricting IPs to one account or anything. Seems like this should be a premier freshwater fishing spot. So Zillith, that reminds me, I gotta write up or like assemble and then send it over. I don't know if anybody's been working on modifying our fishing system, if anybody's proposed ideas. But while I was stuck in bed or on the couch last weekend, in part of the week, I played the shit out of Stardo, and it just had me thinking so much about like fishing. So I have some ideas on, and I don't think it'd be hard. It's just basically some little additions to data and stuff. So no, not pulling from the mini game. Sorry, COD, not pulling from the mini game, but thinking about just like things like bait and tackle and poles and fishing hats and all that stuff. Will third-party software be allowed in the game? No, we're trying to create things in a way where we don't facilitate it as much as possible. And I think you'll have to read up on our FAQ, even where we've talked about like, boxing on the boxing server. I think there's limitations there as well. Let me see. Anyway, click the early access link, read through there, see what's listed there, and then ask in Discord. It's one of those areas where honestly I don't comment on it very much, so I'm not the best person to get into the specific, but always point people to some of the stuff Final Fantasy XI did with fishing. Felt like they had a great mix of relaxing activity and long-term goals to reach. Let me bring that up before I write up my thing. Scan that as well. Cool. So, anyway, as I was saying, the lake will be made deeper because we've got ruins and stuff that will be in the lake. I've made this area a bit more, speaking of Stardew, a bit cozier, right? The idea was to kind of eat up some of the space here, because if you looked at it, where's our other image? Do I have an old? No, I have to grab one of the old images. No. So I'll grab an old image so we can before and contrast. Any new skills been added to the game since the last playtest? Stay for the monk, for example. Probably. You'll definitely need to just read like our whatever notes we put out on that one. A lot of stuff's always going on that front. That's a Nick thing. Nick's always working on that stuff. Zillith may be able to tell you because, you know, a lot of the programming support for skills and fixing bugs and stuff seems to be going through Chip. So let me find. I mean, there's always something going on. Let me go down to Bjorn, and he had a B4. Oh, it's under here. I'm a dumbass. It's right here. We're looking at it. I have it covered up. All right, so here. Oops. Let's make that. No, just delete it. Cool. See how there's all this space over here? Kind of like all this negative space. It didn't feel like when we have this point of interest that's supposed to be like the giant camp over here, it didn't feel defined well enough. And so now that we've got this kind of bumping out, see how it kind of choke points a little bit? And then we've got this circle down here. That feels a little bit better for like setting up a camp. You know what I mean? Zone's got like a emerald jungle feel to it. Yeah, well, oh, I need to read the comments from YouTube before we go much further. Looks like a bunny slipper. It's gone. We've added a bunny slipper to the foot. Perfect first. Chip says, I've recently added support for 2 new ability types that Nick will need to roll into actual abilities, but neither are monk focused. Okay. So, but I think there's maybe been some stuff with monks recently. By recently, I mean in recent months. So let's read the YouTube comments really quick, so that you YouTube guys don't feel left out, because they've been watching. Looks like Ollie's wrestling boot. Yeah, I ratted Ollie out about how he actually dislocated his shoulder. Oh, I think I showed it on the last stream, so I don't need to play the same same joke. But in case you missed it. Digging into you? We're not digging into you, Ollie. Did you hear the knocking boots earlier? That's not digging in. That's dude. I was like, this is how Ollie dislocated his shoulder. But Ollie said that is his favorite. That was his favorite wrestler. So that's why we went for the camel clutch. Ollie was doing that to Goblin. That's how Goblin hurt his shoulder as well. Now we know. Let's see. Crisco Disco said, oh, sorry, Cristo Disco said, any thoughts on having traveling merchants roam from town to town? Yeah. And do you mean player or NPC? Because I think we'll probably have a bit of both. NPCs. Yeah, I don't think that I wouldn't be surprised if we got some of that with like caravans and things like that. Are there patch notes? We've been publishing patch notes to friends and family as we've been updating. So they exist, and then we should probably compile those for the playtest. Ali said, I'm going to kickstart the M&M Wrestling Gym. Ali, I will gladly wrestle you anytime. It would be so much fun. That would be so much fun. I wish we lived near each other. And then we have, then one of our teammates is actually training to be a professional wrestler. I'll let him reveal who that is. Can't now, must physio for a few months, but then watch out. Dude, physio is the best. Oh, I already told him? Yeah, so COD here in chat, environment artist, is training to be a professional wrestler. Sorry if you can hear this cough drop clicking on my teeth. The noise gate has been turned off for months now. So, let's see. Lich said, I wrestled Buff Bagwell in South Alabama about 8 years ago. Where in South Alabama? I once dated a girl whose stepdad, I believe, had a wrestling, he had like an actual wrestling rink behind their trailer. We're used to salad burps, cough drops, nothing. It's true, Dargith. So I'm just going to read out the ones that are relevant to the actual map here. Sorry guys that commented. Relico, I wish you could make this stream as well. You could help us with this, but keep commenting. Apsu says, wow, it's so freaking cool to have seen a journey from whiteboard speculation all the way to 3D terrain. Awesome, dude. Question is, Whiskey Hoarder 9587 says, love the videos. My question is, will there be any interesting new facets to the M&M that other games in the genre do not offer? That's the easier one to hit us up in Discord, and we can like point you to where we've tackled it before. I think we've got to update our FAQ to make that more apparent. But yes, simple answer is yes. We'll be doing some different stuff, and some of it won't be like entirely unique to us, but just the combo of mixing the pieces together will make a unique experience, we hope. Let's see. Poon says, it's pretty awesome bringing the community in here to toss out ideas for the zone. In one of the first videos, you mentioned having a giant mining camp. It would be cool if just outside this camp there was a small tunnel covered by a bush that only small races and crouching deep elves could fit in. This tunnel will lead into the back of the mining camp in the mountains. This could be a point of interest with clues showing how the deep elves are manipulating the giants to steal ore, if they were doing that. It could also be a place for an XP group to farm giants possibly, or via nodes and drops. Keep up the good work. Keep up the good work all. Love the game so far. Hey, thank you. So definitely keep that in mind. We do have the idea that was put out here of the well. So there's a well that you can climb in the bucket because it's a giant well with a giant bucket. Let's see. Avery said, I can see it now. Group looking for more small races only. We're tunnel ratting. I could see that. Plans on clicky items or passive effects on items at release. Grumpy TV, yep. Already in and more going in. That'll definitely be covered. Hey Pi, what's going on? A long week of travel, always great to relax and get some good vibes here. Hey, be safe while you're traveling. Hopefully it's not too tough on you. Needs Call of the Hero to get the other guys in. Oh man, Call of the Hero. People breaking stuff and friends and family Call of the Hero. Ollie, shouldn't Call of the Hero drop aggro? Frickin' exploiters, but I'm glad they're doing it. I'm glad they're doing it in FNF, catching it before we go live. Road in the beginning is like high hold pass, and definitely love these VODs. Hey, thank you. Ollie, I think I posted in our three-way. Maybe I just sent it over to Nick. They're using COH to yeah, they actually are using COH to do the Samantha Head thing. Essentially. No spoilers. Sad to have missed this live, but at least now I have almost 3 hours of entertainment while farming in old school RuneScape. Sounds awesome. Hopefully you will enjoy the next couple of hours as well. And that was Rukunami. And the previous comment about high hold pass was Lee 1. And I think that covers the stuff that's specific to this zone. Cool. So here we are. Now we're in the zone. Let's make it daytime. All right. So the leg's bigger. Now we can hit Sal. And we'll run from zone side to zone side. Also, I'll get into human form as soon as I stop moving. And then we'll get a feel for like what does it feel like? So first off, the increased scale already makes it. Let me get all the way in the corner. I'll cheat real quick. GM speed, and then we'll cut that off. Now it kind of feels a bit more like this is without bumps, without trees in the way, you know. Now it feels like it's got pretty good scale to it. I think this feels like this is a formidable bit of a run. And that was our thing when we were looking at like kind of, can we get some Karana feel, that kind of stuff. We're seeing that. Oh, and here the sky is actually clipping. Our clouds are kind of clipping off the top of the mountain. So let me kill that really quick so you can kind of see the mountains in the distance. We're gonna elevate the clouds a bit. I don't know if we're gonna do that right now, but we'll do it eventually. Where is the cloud? Where is the cloud? Oh, I think it's in post-processed volume. Let me look. Give me 1 minute, I'll find it. I just had it when I was offline. Oh, there it is. It's in a different cloud layer. Vector. We'll kill it. All right, so here we go. Look at the difference, right? Ali said, so glad that I just started book 7. It needs to be over and stop taking up all my time. Dude, that's all Jasmine and I did was listen to that series until we finished it. High peaks where you only see the mountaintops when looking down would be great. See the mountaintops when looking down. Oh, but I think I know what you mean, and that would actually be in another zone. So there's a zone, if I could draw on the screen, there's a zone back here that's going to be mountains. All right, so there'll be mountains in the background that are bigger than these mountains. These are the small mountains. If that makes sense. So we just need to lift this a little bit. We'll lift these clouds up a little bit. All right, so here we go. I'm gonna run. Let's run side to side down here real quick, and then we'll go up and we'll run back through the mountains. How about that? And do we want to run a stopwatch just in case? But we're really getting to the point now where I think the scale's probably good. And so now we can start playing around with putting some more stuff in here to further kind of refine the perspective and give us kind of a view of like, what's it going to feel like? How big do trees need to be in here? Like how big do the props need to be to fill the space and make it feel natural? And so it's not just a big empty zone. Some of the stuff that we can do and we'll probably do offline a bit. I'm trying to make sure that we do most everything during the stream, but may come in and give a little texture to these flat areas so that they're not actually truly flat areas. It's just not going up in elevation and stuff like the hills in the background. Let's see. Have you tried with a blue robe and tested if red is actually faster? Tsunami-san, it's a fair point. It could be that the red robe is throwing things off a bit. I'm doing a solo race. Yes, that's the point. Definitely not. If you're in here, you could race me, but Liz says hi. Now Jasmine's getting sick, unfortunately. Okay, so let me refresh our Sal. Let me get the stopwatch up. Simon, can we say the word Sal? Is that going to get us in trouble? All right, so let's. I hit start and stop really fast. Look at that precise timing. Nice. Did you just say nice? All right. So here we go. Tupac's not in here to guess the time. Hopefully that muted for you guys. Thyro says 8 minutes and 7 seconds. Thadvik says 5:46. Hey, Doggeroni. Yeah, we're not staying true to the original long route. I guess I could have stayed more consistent with that, huh? Shit. It's a fair point. We go up. I didn't want to start back up there because, like I said, there's an errant zone line. And I've got the feeling that I would hit it in zone accidentally. Excuse me. We're currently at 2 minutes. Yeah, so it's been increased 30% on this east-west axis. And or 35%. 35%, that's right. And then 20% north-south. No, you don't move at separate speeds, Tsunami-san. Whenever there's a patch and J-boot speed seems different. Yeah, that was always interesting to hear the speculation on that. Oh wow, we were in the lake the whole time. Alright, so it's 3 minutes across the lake basically. So lake is definitely more substantive. This kind of gives me like the oops, I keep stopping. We'll add some time on there. The lake is definitely going to be deeper than it is now. That's just kind of a quick placeholder depth. But kind of this reminds me of like when you're looking at the mountains kind of to the north when you're running through the Karanas, except there'll actually be something over on the other side, which is something that I always felt like, you know, people complained about the size of the Karanas, but I always thought it could be at least another 30% wider. No, like this, but like taller, I guess. You know, there could have been more on the other side of the mountains and stuff. I would have been okay with it. 4 minutes and 45 seconds. And this is definitely way more as the crow flies than when you're actually moving through the zone. Will there be airless zones like the gray? There may be something like that. On the moon. Which moon? We have 3. Blooper? Is that the official? We'll have to change our lore. Actually, isn't that... What were they calling the giant moon or planet in Embers Adrift? I thought people were calling that Blooper, weren't they? What in the world? I have no idea. Okay, it's COD in here screwing around. Hey, Sneers. So just running across, and we'll try to simulate one of the... other routes, but just running across, we're at about 7 minutes, right? Because there are a couple stops and stuff like that. And that was very much like as the crow flies, no impediments, none of that stuff. So, and that's over to here. And let's see where I'm at. Okay. So I think that gives us that's more in range, right? Because again, when we're looking at where we were before, we're at 620 while kind of avoiding things. So I think if we do this again, then it puts it in a nice range. And even this is going to be a little bit longer, right? Because we're dealing with more north-south distance as well. So, cool. Now let's run up here. And then... like the fog and stuff. Ignore the shine and all that in here. Again, you're looking at placeholder. You can barely hear me. Did I suddenly get quiet? Am I just talking quieter all of a sudden? Is it just this stream, or is it Twitch? Is it your tab? It could be that I've just gotten way too comfortable and not talking. I'm not talking into the mic. How about that? Is that better? I'm just getting lazy. I've just gotten lazy. Also, usually if I have both my earbuds in, then I can't hear myself, and so then I talk louder. I'm not as conscious about how loud I'm talking. I think my neighbors probably hate the fact that I'm so loud, but hey. All right, so here's the other zone line. Let's do a quick run through the mountains, and then let's move on to taking a look at some props in here. Your neighbors gave you chocolate today. Now I'm jealous. What kind of chocolate did they give you? Is it that strange ass like British chocolate with the air bubbles in it, or? $360 grams. Yeah, 360 grams of Galaxy. I don't know what Galaxy is. But if it's chocolate. Yeah, it sounds like a name for weed. 360 grams of Galaxy. Galaxy Kush. Galaxy Blue. $360 grams of LSD, that seems like an awful lot. You gave them 16 bags of salt and vinegar peanuts yesterday? That sounds like an awful lot of peanuts. All right, so we're up in the hills now. Salt and vinegar peanuts, is that just like, it's just peanuts with that have like salt and vinegar chip flavor added to them or something? Oh man, I'm about to run off a cliff. Awesome. I bet that's tasty. I would try that out. Salt and vinegar is an interesting flavor. I kind of get into it a little bit. All right. The clouds block the rain. Oh, fair point. Yeah, I think they were put in here pretty quickly, kind of placeholder. I think there'll be some learning with them. Man, I seem really fast when I'm running around here. It's gonna be helpful when we've got the road in here. Don't dislike them, but I wanted the salt and vinegar crisps I ordered. Crisps are chips, right? And then chips are pommes frites. And pommes frites are fries. Can the backpack be toggled off? Eventually. Oh, shit. Oh, that's sketchy. Ah! Hey, if you fall far enough. That's sketchy. We're good. And then I fall. Classic. At least fall damage is off at the moment. How long did we run? It was, wait, it was like 7 minutes? Yeah, it's like 7 minutes. Ah. Got a question. How do you guys go about making your rocks fit the terrain well enough not to look jarring? I don't know. It feels like a trick question. I don't know. We kind of stab them into the terrain. Like, I've got such a unsophisticated answer. We place the rocks. I mean, like cliffs and such. Oh, well, help me understand. Like, in the scene, are you referring to something that's in the scene already, or? See you, Dark Inside. I believe you had lots of cliffs on the desert level close to the city. Okay, so this is all currently one mesh, but like if you look at let me turn the rain off. Okay, and then let me make it daytime. So this is all just one mesh at the moment. But if you look at like Night Harbor, well, you'll see that we've got separate cliff pieces that have been created specifically for that purpose in areas, and so those are just kind of modeled and then put in there. And then within the city itself, like within Night Harbor, you'll see where some of the terrain has been modeled up to serve as cliffs or modeled up to kind of meet the cliffs, but typically it's multiple multiple bigger pieces, and then with that we kind of buffer that a bit, both in how the textures are blended. And you'll see, I don't know how much of that you'll see in here specifically yet. Maybe just kind of a little bit of blending. And then we'll have other rocks and stuff that we like plug in, you know, place to further kind of reinforce the look. So here we're gonna have a bridge, because we're gonna have some giants, and we're gonna have a giant bridge, and we've got this big ass gorge here. So that's what a campfire looks like in the distance. Will the bridge be made of rocks? I don't know. I mean, in theory, it could be made of whatever. Like, it's going to come down to how true we stick with the whole asset reuse part of things. But like, the bridges that are currently wood in Keeper's Bite are actually they were stone before they were made of wood. So let's see if I can go on the project. Let's go up to, let's see if we've got a prefab that is a bridge somewhere. See if there's a folder for Keepers by what's in structures here. Got some tents. That's not what we're looking for. Do you also use triplanar mapping for meshes that need to have like grass always from the top down? Or perhaps you just have it already prepared with which side is up? Well, I don't know exactly. One of the environment guys might be able to answer that are in here, or Chip or Ollie. While I continue to see if I can find this. That's Fallen Pass. Try to see if I could find a bridge really fast. Cad said some textures are triplanar / world aligned. Yeah. You're welcome. Sorry I'm not better at answering some of those questions, but that's why I just like point people to the appropriate team member. I wonder if that object just exists in Keeper's Bite. No worries, everyone can't know everything. I've gotten so used to, like, the scale of the projects I've worked on have always been so big that, like, I don't know if some people are, like, just, you know, I'm not the smartest dude. So maybe there's some people out there, like, working on games that just, like, know everything about a project. That's great for them. Like, or they're bullshitting. I'm not trying to do either. So I always respected, when I first got in the industry, I always respected the producer on EverQuest, Robert Pfister, because when he had a meeting with upper management, like Smed and those guys, Russ and Smed and Don Percelli and those guys, rather than like go over there and bullshit, and potentially get us in trouble by committing to stuff that didn't make sense or whatever, he would just come out of his office and be like, design guy, art guy, tech guy, come with me, right? And like a lot of times my boss, who is the design director, didn't want to go to those meetings, and so he just let me go. And so I would hop on that, and then we'd go over there, and then that way the producer's not like trying to answer tech questions and design questions and stuff that he may not have the actual answer to. And I think, I don't know if it's just people feel like they should have the answer and they feel bad if they don't. or if it's like sort of a glory hound thing or what the deal is, but it's not ideal. So I just turned off fly so I could fall into the freaking gorge. All right, yeah, that was intentional. Just wanted to check out the gorge and see how it felt like from below. Good managers rely on their skilled workers. As long as they're cool about it, Liz. All right, let's fly to the other side. And then what I'm going to do is, since I couldn't find the damn bridge, I think that bridge is just... The one I'm thinking of is maybe not in the folders. It's just in Keeper's Bite. Because I was going to throw a bridge across here. I'm trying to think if there are any other bridges in game. Do we have any other bridges? What we can do is we can hop out of here. Actually, we'll finish the run, and then we'll hop out of here, and then we'll just go into like the scene, and then we'll play some stuff, and then we'll hop back in. How have you thought about how you're going to get out of there if you fall in? It's open on the one side, so you can walk out. But if you fall in there, in theory, you should just be dead. It should be more a question of, have you thought about how people are going to get their corpse? Bridge in SGS next to the quarry. Oh yeah, I think that one's in the scene as well. I don't think that one's like a prefab. And while we're in here, let me go ahead and turn off the sky again since it's clipping. Sorry, not the sky, the cloudler. I'm gonna need a necro summon then. No, you should be able to reach it from down below. See? Look. So we'll finish running here. Oops. Hey, Zukin. Depends on what lives down there. That is a fair point. Have I mentioned the stress test yet? I have not. I don't know. If you guys have not been following Discord, which you should be following Discord, and if you're not on the mailing list, which is now up to like 8,700 people, we have announced that we're having a stress test on Saturday. And then we've announced playtest dates for the rest of the year. So both of those places have that information. Olga said, this music is great. I'm just sitting here working and thinking, man, what classic game do I know this track from? And it's just Eminem. Yep. It's nice to be able to just sit and listen to our soundtrack when we work. All right. So those are behind us. We may be able to even pump those mountains up a little bit. So we have 8,700 on the mailing list, and we have 13,000 in Discord. Last we checked, and by the way, Sneers, thanks for the follow. Last we checked, I think there was only like a 30% overlap between the two. So, you know, that's good. Then hopefully some more people learn about us once we go live, and hopefully we retain you guys for a little bit. Cool. All right. So now we're back down here. So yeah, that's the zone. Let's maybe come over here and look and see. Oh, you really can't. You can't see over there. There we go. Okay. Now we get about here. All right. So that the lake feels lakey. The zone feels big now. Distinct areas are kind of separate. Liz said I talk about you on my stream a bit and have already warned them stress test wins. Oh, that's so kind of you to put us first. All right, so let's hop out of here. We'll hit stop. We'll hop into the actual zone and we'll throw some trees in. That's what we'll do next. We'll Bob Ross it a bit. All right, so let's go into project folder. We'll go into... it's like this weird call of the void that makes me want to click on like zones I'm not supposed to show you. Scarwood, that's what we're in, right? Okay, here we are. That's us. Discord says 6 p.m. Is that UTC +1? It should be showing you your local time. I think it's got the little local time set up. All right, so let's try something. Let's cheat really quick. See if it's possible to cheat really quick. To get us started. Since we're not going to be saving this, I don't think. Let's go to Keeper's Bite. Okay. And let's see if we can do something to... Let's see if there's some cheating that can be done here really fast. I don't know what will actually happen. So it may not be... it'll be a thing that we do, but then we don't, you know... We're gonna grab all this shit here. There. Okay. Do I want anything else at the moment? I think that'll be a good start. Cool. And we'll hit copy. And then we'll go back to Scarwood. I just went around the world. Let's see. Let's make sure we're in the right spot. We'll come over here. We'll go here. And naturally we'll need to do a little cleanup. Let's go grab our bridge real quick. Daroni said we're done now. Perfect. We're done. Good to go. Next zone. See, we're just blasting through zones. Oops. Who made this bridge, and does everyone respect the right of passage? Is that a reference to something? If it's a reference to something, I'm not gonna get it. I'm sure it is a brilliant. Wow, that's not what we wanted. Is that a quote? Zone is too small. You need to make it 3 times bigger. Yeah, see? Luca knows what's up. What did I do? I just copy pasted really quickly to get like a quick little something in here for us to look at. It's probably not the environment artist approved way of doing stuff. There. All right, now we got a bridge. And if we really wanted to test it out, we could come in here and we could go to, yep, Scarwood, perfect. Enable zone spawners. Just kind of get a feel for it. That's yeah, Bill, I just went into an existing zone and grabbed a bunch of stuff, hit copy, popped back into this scene, hit paste. While I'm at it, let me make a new empty parent folder or object. Create empty parent, and I'll just say, I'll call this random props. And I'll grab everything that I just grabbed. And I'll move it into that random props folder. And then I gotta figure out, like, why is there... This is saying there's a bunch of spawners and stuff in here that shouldn't exist. So I'll re-enable spawners and see if it gives me the wrong zone spawners again. Okay, I'm seeing no spawners in here now, which is good. That's a good start. Then we'll come over here. Grab these guys. Bring them up a little bit. Then we'll just do a real quick job on this. Oops. Just so we got something to look at. It won't be perfect. It won't be pretty. here. Same here. Because I also think that a lot of the trees and stuff in here may wind up, we may want them just to be bigger. And I also don't think we're going to be using a ton of these guys. Maybe in the transition, but I'm picturing more like evergreens in this zone for some reason. But maybe I'm wrong. Again, asset reuse. So, but with a lot of the stuff in here just being big, you know, like giants and big treants and shit like that, I'm thinking it'll be nice to have like big props to kind of go along with it. But not everything can be big, right? So again, since we basically just grabbed some random stuff and copy pasted in here, it's not like it needs to be perfect. I just figure if we're gonna hop it back into scene, we might as well have it be have the stuff be, you know, looking kind of okay. That everything. You know what I'll do? We'll do a. Oops. Can I actually undo that? It may not. Oh no, because I've got this open. So let me disable zone spawners. That's an interesting bug. Control Z. There we go. The tool kind of takes over and thinks you're trying to control Z to data and not the prop. It's a bug we'll eventually have to fix. And we'll grab a couple more of these guys and then we'll hit save and we'll hop in. All right. And then what we could do though is we can just so we've got some stuff to kind of help us see what's going on in the distance as well. And then get these guys. Are there more? All right, get them here. And then maybe take some of these and make them bigger. Yeah, let's see. Let's do that real quick. Control D, bring these forward. Control D, move these over here. And then also, let's make some smaller ones to mix in there. No, let's not use those. Grab these guys again, Control D. Move them here, and then we'll scale them back down to 1.25. All right. We'll hit S really quick. Then we'll go back into the zone scene, and then we'll trigger this thing, and we'll hop in here, and we'll see if there's any difference in feel, if it matters. Worn Out Plays said earlier, need some planks on the bridge spaced out enough where gnomes have to jump to each one, or they fall to the water. Well, they would fall to their death. So, but we could absolutely put some gaps in the bridge, I guess. It's kind of crazy how simple resize and relocation makes it not look cloned. It's a weird thing, right? Like there's a fine line there, but I think there's a certain amount of, you know, there is definitely, and I'm not an environment artist, so they may disagree, but I think there's a certain amount where you can grab some stuff, move it, twist it, rescale it, you know, mix and match it a little bit. Like I think the rocks near trees help every once in a while. So a lot of clustering, not trying to put everything everywhere. You know, not trying to have an even distribution of props. You know, so where are we at now? All right, so just here we go. Now we're in here. It's nighttime. You know, it's not. Obviously, we just tossed in some stuff really quickly, so it doesn't look 100%, but you can start to get a feel for. And I'll human back up. Zukin said works on NPC models too. EverQuest school models are just a reskinned goblin model with some minor model tweaks. Yeah, I mean and we do it a lot in data as well, right? Like we just duplicate an NPC and tweak some stuff, and now you got a new NPC. All right, so ooh, you know, like we get in here. But yeah, now, especially at night, you can see how this kind of starts to get a bit more forest. But you see what I'm saying? Like, I think the trees could be much bigger in this zone. Like, to me, this feels like the small stuff interspersed with some, you know, here, I'll make it daytime. Right, so I'm not like a Unity expert, so sometimes I'm like, why isn't this working? And you guys are like, because whatever. But like here, so if I dupe this now, can I move it or not? It's like weird shit happens whenever it's like running. This is the new zone. I just grabbed some stuff from Keeper's Bite really quick to toss in here to kind of give us a feel for things. Alright, so I just grabbed these trees really quick and tossed them in. Alright, so yeah, so we can already see how this kind of like so I think it's going to be a mix of like roughing up the terrain a bit, and then getting in much bigger prompts. So let's do that now. I'm going to stop. Is that data modeling, Bill? Well, I learned a lot about data modeling all the way back on EQ, where we just so much stuff is just a dupe of a record. We'll pop back into Scarwood. Cool. Alright, so we're here. Grab this guy. Move him over here. And just for now, we'll take this, we'll go here, and we will do this. And let's go ahead and enable spawners in here, see if we get anything weird again. This will be the first spawner that we put in the zone, so I think we're probably fine on the data front, but we'll see. These spawners good. So we'll go down to like 1. And then we'll go. Is it KPB? Yeah. Cool. Hill Giant. Cool. And then we'll add in some giants really fast. And they're just here for so we have something to look at. I mean, in theory, we could make one walk around for us. I did build out a new nav mesh, so we'll come over here and we'll go. We'll make this a nice box. We'll go 100, 10, 100. You know what? Cool. We'll actually make it 200. Give him some room to walk around. And then we'll give him a wander. Wander in volume. Doesn't matter if he stops. Blah, blah, blah now. Can I save, actually? It's showing them. But since this is a brand new zone, I can't remember if there's anything I need to do. Let me check the data real quick and see if it's making it into DB. Yeah, no, I know, Bill. Zone spawns, and let's look. Does this have a... Oh, you know what? We may not be able to do this yet. Let me look. No, that's there. It's actually there. We may have to, like, really fake this for tonight. No, make sure everything's set up. Since a brand new zone, it could be that for whatever reason, the data is not saving. It's in Scarwood, but it's not giving me an option to save. So let's disable spawners. Let me see what unsave change. Oh, can we do it here? Oh, we'll do it from here and see what happens. Let me reset the data over here in the DB. Or reload. Ah, it's showing them. Alright. I think that'll work. That's probably going to work. Cool. And so with that in mind, let's... Let's throw some over by our bridge as well while we're here. And since we're in here, we might as well face them. Have it not look too janky. Every little bit adds to the effect, right? No, I'm seeing these spawners. Oh, wait. I was like, why do they seem so big relative to this? Because it's not on the ground. They're sitting on the clouds. Ah, fooled me. Now that looks right. I was like, damn, how big are these? How small is this bridge? Is this a bridge for ants? That really was kind of throwing me. I was like, this is so smaller than didn't it just look huge? I was like trying to play it off. I'm like, oh no, that seems totally normal. What the? There we go. Whoever taught me, I think it was John Gamble, taught me the whole hold shift control, and you get like the little gray box, and it smacks the dude down here. And again, just for fun, you know what? We'll make this another volume. We'll go 100, 10. And we'll see if that actually works up here. And then we'll go 150. Oops. Yeah, no. Here. Yeah, we'll make it an hour. 60. Do you foresee pushing people off the bridge? Like you pushing people off the bridge, or just people being pushed off the bridge? In general? Yeah. I can definitely see that being a hazard. Alright, so we'll have these guys here. Go back to... These guys good? Yeah, alright. Go back to... and I mean, they're supposed to have like a little village somewhere around here. It's either here or here. What is my favorite color? My favorite color is black. Why? Oops, this guy needs a wander. Perfect. Think that's a Monty Python reference? Yeah, see, when you guys make references like that, if it's anything I should know from like TV or whatever, I'm not going to. What Monty Python is that? Like, what is that from? The Holy Grail movie? I should probably watch that again sometime soon. I haven't watched that since I was like a kid, and I mean, obviously, that was a while back, right? What's your favorite? Was that so that you could pass? What is your name? What is your favorite? What is your quest? What is your favorite color? Do you guys just remember stuff like that? And let's make these much bigger. It's a pretty popular I understand. No, I get the fact. Like, I understand what Monty Python is. I understand the movie. I've seen the movie. I'm just saying, do you retain those facts in your brains? Like, I think my brain's just not very good. I don't know. Like I said earlier, I think, yeah, it's just a flesh wound. That part I remember, but like, they think I'm I'm just not very nerdy. I don't have any nerd cred. My brain's not good enough. I I consumed a you know, like I think maybe I just I drank too much my entire life and my brain is just probably just mush. I was having this conversation with Jasmine. I was like I don't think I'm a very smart person. I'm just convincing. My job is not to be very smart. My job is to convince smart people to embark on epic journeys with me. That is my role in life. I don't need to be smart. We got all of the rest of the team for that nonsense. I need to be convincing. You should have that on a shirt, Sean. Not very smart, just convincing. We'll get that on the we'll get that on the merch shop. Are those walls like rocks, the zone borders, Darius? Yeah, this is the current sort of zone outline. You haven't convinced me that you're not smart. Oh shit, I need to try harder then. Sounds like a phrase for the commerce skill. Oh man, there's some commerce stuff that I'm really hoping we get in. Right. Let's see if this changes anything feel-wise. And then we'll go into... I've hit save. Yes. Project Beans Zone. When can you play this 24/7? Mr. Steel Rose. Here, check this out. Here's a link to the FAQ for early access. Lord Capstone the Dragon is also very convincing. You're in good company. Yeah, see, it doesn't take much. Q1. That might be January. Are we going to have another forest zone besides Scarwood and Tree City? Love forest zones. Over time, you'll absolutely be getting more. But we'll see what we get in for EA. But over time, you'll be having more for sure. Oh, hey. Incidentally, just some actual god rays as well. All right. So again, imagine more lumps and bumps in the terrain. And let me watch this crash the zone or something. I'm going to reload the zone. Are you planning on making supernatural biomes like a zone filled with magical energy, for example? Yeah, for sure. Plus, we've got the deep, which is essentially a Underdark style, like underworld that runs along our map. So you got surface world and you've got the underworld. Our first big update, our first module that we're releasing after. Why am I naked? I'm still naked. All right, there we go. The first big release that we've got after we go into early access is yeah, I know, Viro, speaking of drinking, going to be very deep focused, and so that'll add additional zones that will be deep zones, and in the deep there will also be lots of opportunities for like weird biomes where it'll be like sort of supernatural style, or it'll be interesting, like you know, underground jungle and things like that. Are you going to cull the distant trees? Is there a way to LOD the distant trees enough to see them on the distant hills? Yes. It's something I know it's a giant pain in like Chip Zillithan here has been working hard on like optimizations and stuff for you can see here, like, because we've just got such a clear line of sight to them, there's no obstructions, right? You can already see where their animations are like LOD'd out or deactivated at this distance, but now this guy's working again. So there'll be some stuff that we're tweaking, and then a bit of this is going to go, you know, it's going to get back to, again, right now this terrain is absolutely flat. So we need some, we'll need some like more hills and dips and things like that. And bigger kind of like obstructions. Like there's no reason why we can't have like a big chunk of rock and some other stuff in here that helps hopefully allow us to cull certain things. And then we'll be playing with like some of these distances. See his animations deactivated again because he's out of range, and now they're back on. All right, so we'll be playing with that stuff. We do so much with just like long sight lines, and you know, this is a foggier zone for us. No, I know what's causing this. This is intentional. This is just us optimizing. Right, so rather than have these animations going where you potentially couldn't see them. All right, Chip's weighing in. Oh, the naked bug? I have no idea. Chip says we don't have any distance calling for Geo at the moment, just occlusion hidden behind another object, and frustrum outside the camera view. So like behind us there. So it only gets called when it's past the view distance, which is not often. Is the fog going to have a tint to it? Salacious, what do you think? Should the fog have a tint to it? A tint other than what we've currently got in here? Or do you guys like this fog? For those of you that are just coming in, keep in mind, this is your zone. You've been working on this zone for several sessions now. If you just came in, we started here. You guys helped design the zone. Well, I would say you mostly designed the zone. I helped you mostly design the zone. And we have gotten to this point. I convinced you to design a zone. This is true. Fair point, Zukin. G-Fay, the green tint made his zone feel more like a forest, even though the tree density wasn't as much. Fog was also pretty thick. I'm kind of I don't know. I'm afraid that if we go too thick in here, it may cause us to lose some of the coolness of seeing stuff in the distance. It gets thicker when you go up in elevation, though. So I think the first thing we should try doing is, and the fog that we have, it's definitely got some opportunity for some like neat god rays and stuff. Here, I'll make it daytime again. Marcy likes the fog as it is. And I think like these guys, bigger rocks in here will also be helpful to like break up line of sight and stuff. So things that I want to go ahead and commit to doing off stream for the next stream is I'm going to go ahead and throw in some, if you don't mind, I want to throw in some props like trees and stuff to just like put them in a sort of like a decent pattern to give us a little bit of feel. I will place something for the giant camp over there that's a little more permanent. And I'll get with Bjorn and we'll see about doing some hills and dips now that we're okay with the scale, to start figuring that out a little bit. And hey, let's run over to born and raised in West Virginia. It feels just like home. West Virginia, it's awesome. I used to love driving through the Virginias. So beautiful. Can't wait to live in the US again and be able to show Jasmine some of that. Hey, what's up, Goblin? All right, so let's go run over here. Here we go. There we go. Oh, I don't need to do this. So, oops, kill that. And then we'll come over here and we'll take a look at our bridge. So anyway, what I was saying is there's a few things that we'll do. When you do that pass with trees, can you make it a unique prefab so we can propagate any change to trees here throughout the zone? Let me get with you and Bjorn on that to make sure that it's done properly. I won't do it properly, but I'll gladly remind you guys. Did we place the bridge right over COD? This seems like this crooked ass bridge. But yeah, we can make sure that it happens, Goblin. Cool thing about the fog and stuff up here, it makes nice silhouettes out of the giants. That's kind of neat. But yeah, so I think we've proven that the scale in the zone is looking pretty good. I think we might be able to push up the mountains a little bit higher. I know we're flipping into this. Let me see if I can. This. Where was it again? It was in geometry, lighting, cloud layer, and then yeah. So I'm gonna raise the sky a little bit, the clouds. Goblin said, also sorry everyone, I've been away. I took my shoulder again pretty hard and have been recovering. We were talking about that earlier because Ollie's tweaked his shoulder as well. We said that you guys were wrestling. That is the story. The official story is you and Ollie were wrestling and injured each other. We had photographic evidence. I don't know if it's still up. I don't think it's still up. And beat both one. Oh, Dogroni asked, playing Splinter Cell too hard. Cool. Have you had any time to improve on some of the classes for the stress test? Wolverine 2, I'm fairly certain there's been a decent number of changes. A decent number of changes since you guys last played. But hopefully we'll have everything kind of like written up. We should. We'll see. I don't want to overpromise, but I'm hoping we have some notes from friends and family, like patch notes that we can just bundle together and give to you guys. So, I mean, work's constantly being done. So I feel confident saying that things will be different. There will be additions and stuff. So yeah, so I think, you know, we'll get some trees up here once we kind of figure out the height thing as well. And you know, I think it'll help to start to fill this in a bit. And yeah, I think one giant guard in the bridge would be good, so there's a chance to sneak by. I think that's a good idea. When we get into doing the like actual population, we'll make sure that's the case. We can have them like wander off, or we can have two, but make sure they're always kind of moving around. So you've got to time it, right? So, yeah. So like I said, I've been avoiding doing any work on this offline. Ooh, nice. This is kind of a little. It's funny, I get so into the superficial parts of zones, but isn't that like really what it's all about? It's kind of the, like, what does it feel like, you know, when you're coming over a hill and you see a thing, or regarding cloth wearing healers, that's something discussed. I mean, I haven't heard anything about any new classes, so again, it's not necessarily the area that I'm most invested in. That's typically something, if you want to ping somebody in Discord, ping Nick on that front, because a lot of times I'm just kind of listening in as like Nick and Ali and Runaf, and you know, others, but a lot of times those three will be talking about like some details and stuff. So I'm just kind of listening. But yeah, so it's nice. Seeing the trees and stuff in this fog in the distance is pretty tight. I think that's good if got a good feel. So just imagine that's going to propagate out. I think as we're doing bigger scale props in here, then we'll work on sort of clustering those in a way where it's it kind of adds to, you can kind of see the flow of the zone. We'll start to simulate some of the stuff that we've got, like the two different roads and things like that. But ooh, I like that. I'm pretty easy though. Like I'll run into something like this. I don't know. I mean, you guys might not be, but like shit like this where I'm like coming in even just this little bit, it's kind of. Now the interesting thing is it clears up, right? Because we're kind of, as we go up the hill, it's got this nice fog. So maybe, you know, who was asking about the fog earlier? We were just who was it that we were just talking about the fog? Salacious? Yeah, so should we keep it like that? Because I was like, maybe do we need more fog down here? But I like down here that we've got some like sight lines and stuff. So the idea was I wanted to when I was first talking to Bjorn about this, I was talking about like adding fog at different elevations. I didn't know it would have this effect overall. Like I didn't know it would be that cool here. I was mainly looking to see how we could best mask looking over the zone line as you go up. Though we're gonna do some facade work, right? And so you'll see Evershade wields like big trees in the distance. You'll see the high elf like mountain here to the north in the distance, right? Even if it's silhouetted, just silhouetted, right? So then you probably get a little hint as you're down there and you're kind of peering over. You may see like some of the desert mountains as you're looking towards Vale, that kind of stuff. But yeah, all right. So I like this. And then when we go down, I think we don't need to maintain this fog as we go down. It clears up a bit. And it's just got like a little bit of different look. I don't know. It may even be a thing where when you get down here, when you come out of like this cooler fog of the mountains, should it warm up? Should it almost be a little more? I don't know. This will be something maybe Goblin can give some input on. Should it be like a little bit like a warmer feel down here? Like, should we, have a post-processing layer down here that actually gives it a kind of like actually switches the colors a little bit, so it's a little bit more warm orangey, just a little bit, like, so it feels a little more summery down here, and then it cooler as you're going up. Is fog something that can be turned off and on depending on other triggers, like it rains certain time? Yeah, and we've got like morning fog, chance of morning fog, and stuff like that as well. Like a gentle amber. Yeah, something, just very subtle, but it just makes it kind of warmer down here. Obsidian, Lore Warren said yes. Definitely need something to make it feel a little more dynamic and different from all of the brown. Yeah. So we can play with that. And again, placeholder textures. At the moment, I'm just grabbing props from another zone and throwing them in here to look at scale. All of this is very placeholder. If you guys are just now tuning in, this is a zone that we've been working on together in the streams. You can catch the VODs. And it went from whiteboard to, see, we were just at that bridge. We're down this lake. And so we did all of this in, I think we got most of this done in the first 2 VODs, right? And then third VOD, we came in and looked at kind of the pencil maps and stuff that Bill had made up and some of the direction with regards to elevation. Then we looked at scale, and then we just earlier today, we just scaled it up a little bit. So yeah, everything that we've done so far has been on stream, with the exception of like generating the terrain and stuff. So, and then in this one, we looked at prop scale, threw in a couple of NPCs to kind of see what they feel like in the distance, etc. And you don't see the giants in the distance at the moment because our sphere of influence system has them like essentially depopped. And so, yeah, the things that we'll be doing next will be, like I said, I'll be getting some more placeholder props in here to kind of see if we can start to make some areas feel distinct before Tuesday. And then we will maybe ruffle up the terrain a little bit. And I think that'll get us started. I think that'll be enough. And then what we can do is we'll add some NPCs here and there just to help us get a feel for scale of stuff, and just kind of take a look at how things are progressing and maybe talk about some of the points of interest on Tuesday. So, do you think this is the first game to do something like this, at least in MMO, like just sort of the very open development process? I think I've seen other indie teams do it, especially like sort of like the one-man production environments and stuff. So I've seen that stuff. I think I think for well, I don't want to speak out of turn, right? I don't want to be like douchey and say something that's not true. But I do feel like we've done um we've we have so far been more open than what I would expect other teams to be, and um I think it is definitely a oh, my posture is so bad when I'm streaming. I think it's definitely one of the more open development processes. Um, Making a map with the community, I don't know. I assume somebody's probably done it before. Um, if not, I would say that you know, there may be some downside at some point. I don't know if I don't know if Simon's still in here to give us. Oops, let me scroll up because the music stopped. You know, advice on it. I guess, you know, in theory, we could run into some trouble because one of you can claim the zone later or whatever. I don't know. There could be some shit like that that we could run into. Um, but overall, I mean, just being open with you guys just seemed like it's refreshing as somebody that's worked on games for a long time. Um, and at the end of the day, I think one of the big benefits of like being open about like, and we'll see how it goes, you know, how much we've spent. For those of you that haven't checked it out, if you go to, um, um, yeah, if you guys haven't checked it out, in the early access section of the website, we've got like a breakdown on what we've spent, and what we spent it on. Um, you know, our plan to date, we'll see. Um, but definitely my hope is that we continue to just give you guys like the real lowdown throughout early access as well. You know, like um, you can see how many subs we have, what revenue is coming in, how we're allocating revenue, what our priorities are. You know, like hey, we have this much coming in. This is now we're able to roll these people into like getting paid. This is how much we're allocating for like essentially staffing. Here's what we're putting aside to try to get our first profit share to try to like recoup some people a bit for all the time they've donated. Here's our plan going forward. This is what we want to spend on outsourcing, all that type of shit. Just because then there's not speculation, right? There's no like, oh, I wonder what they're doing with it. Like we're telling you what we're doing. You can disagree with it. We can make the wrong decisions. Um, you know, you can question our priorities. You can question our decision making. And the cool thing is uh, when you do like question, sometimes we look at it and we're like, ah, shit, actually, that's a good point. Why are we doing that? Right. So, yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm hoping the team stays cool with the concept and we continue to charge forward with it. Like for us, transparency is just kind of like it's a safety for us, right? Because if we're not bullshitting you, we're not bullshitting you. So what are you gonna say? You don't like it? Okay, but we didn't bullshit you. And I don't see the business reason for the bullshit. Like I've worked in environments exclusively for the last like 20 plus years, where we keep everything close to the chest and we don't like. I've been on teams where the team doesn't even get the info. I've been at companies where the team can't even get access to like how's the business doing, right? It wasn't until I got to Europe where I really was in environments where it was like we every week we would take the team into you know a room and show them like here's what our KPIs are doing, right? Yeah, it's just I think I don't know, man. Like I was talking about this. I don't know if it's just an old school thing, Obsidian. I was talking to a buddy of mine when he was passing through town, who worked at a company with me in Hamburg, about this, and like I've seen like executives try to bullshit their teams internally. So it's not just that they're like that companies bullshit the players. It's like executives will try to bullshit the teams, and teams are looking at them like, well, that's clearly bullshit, right? Like you're in these team meetings, company meetings, and in theory, the company has hired smart people, and then an executive is like just straight up not telling the truth, and everybody's looking around like, well, that's clearly not what's happening, right? And so I don't know, man. Like I said, we haven't shipped a game, we haven't made $1. We have zero success at this moment. We have a bunch of odds. We have a game that's in production. We have some playtests that we've done. So we can't speak from a position of authority or saying like this works. But I sincerely, honestly hope that it works. Because honestly, this is the most refreshing like development setup that I've been in, right? Like to me, being able to come in here and not bullshit you guys and like show you stuff. Now we don't show you everything. And there's a bunch of lore and stuff that I'm hoping that, we are able to get in before we go into early access, but we're not going to even let the people testing check it out. Because we're going to get it in. It's just, we want you to discover stuff, and we've got, some zones and stuff that you haven't seen and probably won't see or whatever. But for the most part, like involving you in this process, like why not? If anything, hopefully that just helps you understand why something may not look the way you would think it would, or why something might be a little janky on the gameplay, whatever it is, right? So less transparency, more microtransactions. We can do that. We absolutely cannot do that. It's absolutely a collaborative process with you guys. Like you guys have been a big booster for us. We get a ton of information from you. We're able to like vet ideas. It's just Just Drop said it'd be cool to have weather events based on specific locations in semi-real time. Like places that mean a lot to the staff. Like in-game locations? Shaka said, I worked at a company where we all knew what each other made in terms of salary, etc. Really solid way of doing things. I think transparency on that front is also very, very cool. That's something we've got to discuss still, but yeah, I think one of the reasons why there isn't transparency is a lot of times maybe people aren't comfortable 100% with the decisions, right? But I kind of feel like if we're comfortable with our decisions, then we just tell you what we're doing, and then it's either the right move or it's not. Open development has absolutely been good for recruitment. Like, if we hadn't taken the approach that we had, we wouldn't have our team. We'd be nowhere. It's weird too, because I'll like pop in on LinkedIn every once in a while and I'll see like people trying to get funding for their studio, and it's like, but they don't want to show anything. Just an old way of doing business. Customer's always right. Never admit to mistakes. Not knowing unless you can avoid it. Yeah, though you might have missed the earlier part of the stream where I was like, if the customer is wrong, we will absolutely let folks know. Typically, mostly politely. Alright guys, so we're at a point now where I'm just kind of bullshitting. It is 10:38. I think we've covered some ground today. On Tuesday, we'll pop back in here and then we'll just show off like I'll try to get some propping done over the weekend for you, and then we'll start to see how the zone's coming together. I'll get with Bjorn and see if we can add a little variability to these big flat terrain spaces now, and we may raise the mountains a little bit. And if Goblin is around and has some input, or you know, maybe if not, then I'll just screw around with it as well. We'll see about maybe having a different feel to the fog down at the base level, and then do the thing that we were talking about earlier. So those will be the things that we do. So I think that's it for tonight. I'm gonna wrap up. Try to get to bed at a decent hour. I'm feeling a ton better, but I also don't want to risk it, because I'll be up again at 5:30 in the morning when my wife wakes up for work. Yeah, absolutely. What is your question? Oh wait, and Just Drop clarified what he was saying as well. Yeah, like you pick a place in the world and have one zone with weather based on that place, like the real world. Do y'all have anything, any decisions on something like dynamic events a la old school EverQuest? Since I know you'll be familiar. You mean like encounters with like moving parts and stuff? Just Drop. Yeah, we tend to pull our inspiration for real world stuff. We have like an inspiration channel as well in Slack when people are always posting it. And like there's so much interesting like reference and ideas and inspiration for all sorts of things, weather and everything else. I think so. Obsidian, is that what you mean? Like oh, those types of events. Yeah, we're really wanting to be able to get that done. That's something that we're discussing, like live events. So we are building up our customer service with like the server sheriff concept in mind. And so hopefully when they have time, they can run events. That one's really going to come down to whether or not we're successful. If we're successful, then it would be nice to have a handful of people that we pay just to run events on servers. And you don't have to like get the server upgrade or whatever. You don't have to go to the expensive server to get that. It would just be on all servers. But like, you know, if we've got 100 subscribers, then I don't know. Well, then the team will probably log in with you and run some events, I guess. But yeah, so it's really going to come down to our level of success. But it is a goal even with just sort of like a standard base staff, and we're doing a lot of work to try to get our CS tools as good as possible to try to free up their time to be able to do stuff like that. We want the customer service, like our GMs, to be present on the server. Like if they can hand you your item back that you lost instead of just putting it on your account, then that's always a plus. They appear when you're trying to train each other and do dumb shit. And then hopefully they also run events. Bill, you're welcome for the stream. Yeah, see everybody on Saturday. I've almost forgot. There is a stress test this Saturday. Be sure to be a part of our Discord if you want the latest info on all that stuff. Please join our Discord. Sia Marcy, thanks for being here. I'm glad I'm feeling better as well. All right, so let's say goodnight, and then I'm going to get out of here. I will see you guys on Saturday. Yeah, I almost forgot just because I kind of like, I'm going to be here either way. I'm not the one stressing the stress test. The tech guys are, I think, for the most part, and Nick and some others. Good night, Amnesiac. Definitely keep an eye out for, we'll post some GM roles this year. So if you're interested, keep an eye out for that. We were going to have high standards, though. See you, Olgo Dev, Nomer Gimson, see ya. Hershey Chris, see you on Saturday. But yeah, keep an eye out, Coldfire. Salacious, thanks, buddy. Thadvik, good night. Thanks, Just Drop. Quixana. Thanks again. See you. See you, Chan Solo. Thanks for being here, Lasava. Good night, Fuller. Night, Zukin. Hey, Zukin, we still need to catch up. Oh, look. Hey, while we're leaving, look at COD in the distance on the mount. How dope is that looking right there? No, don't come at me. Like, walk side, like, parallel. No, quit coming at me. There you go. Go off in the lonesome distance, buddy. That looks great. Choclar, see you. I'm glad you're enjoying it. It's been really fun for me as well. See you, Coldfire, Darius. Yeah, thanks for the questions, Obsidian. Dude, look at him in the distance. That's so awesome. That's so good. That's so good. Oh my gosh. That's so badass. Now imagine he's pulling his wagon. What? Remind me, Thadvik, somewhere. I will forget for sure. Chrysalis. It sounds familiar though. Yeah, the animation's great on that, on the horse. See you, Sneers. I'm glad you made it as well. See you, Matthias. Later, Viro. Alright, come back this way. Come back this way. You're disappearing. Later, Coot. Yeah, if you're feeling up to it, Goblin, you should definitely hop on. Oh, wow. That's awesome, Obsidian. Is that Malasai? Thank you for the follow. Appreciate you guys. And thanks. Yeah, thanks for getting the word out. All right, guys. That's it. I'm gonna hit the button for now. Thanks for being here. I will see you guys on Saturday, and if not on Saturday, then I'll see you Tuesday. Have a great Friday, and if I don't see you on Saturday, have a great weekend, and we'll do some more.